Hi, and welcome to our review of Whoosh by Deep Purple, released the 7th of August 2020. Now, to be honest, I've been looking forward to this album for a while. The 3 songs that the band have put out over the last few months, Throw My Bones, Man Alive, Nothing at All, have all sounded fresh and they've really interested me. It's like the band trying some new things, trying to go in a new direction. So, really looking forward to this album. Now, I've been listening to rock music for more years than I care to remember, and it always brings a massive smile to my face when one of the bands that sparked my passion for rock comes out with a really top-notch album. Unfortunately, it's a rare old occasion when that happens, but fair play to Deep Purple, they pulled it off here for sure. You know, some of the fans are going to grumble. They're going to say, it's not Machine Head, it's not in rock, it's no burn. But really, would we want the band to endlessly turn out clones of Highway Star, Smoke on the Water, Mistreated, ad infinitum? Nah. Also, we have to remember those songs were written from the perspective of 20-something young men. Now, they are different men. They are 40 odd years older. Different men and a different life and a different worldview. Another thing I might add here is to even try and come up with new ideas, new songs, and still try and keep to the identity of the band is a massive task. Ian Pace in an interview the other day came out and said virtually the same thing, but the way he expressed it was that Western rock music as a genre is so limiting. There's only so much you can do, and it is a hard old task to come up with new ideas and sound fresh and interesting. Okay, onto the album. Track 1, Throw My Bones. Now this sets the band's stall out for the whole album. Guitar and keyboards high in the mix, Pace and Glover just behind, providing as usual that superb rhythmic backbone. Initially it's Steve Morse's chugging guitar riff that grabs the attention. But listen to the riff that Don Airey is playing just behind the guitar chords. Morse and Airey providing just wonderful musical chemistry on this track and throughout the whole album. And I'll say it now, this is a record that doesn't give up its gifts on the first listen. This is a record you need to listen to a good few times. This is a band who quite obviously are right in the groove. Add to this some great lyrics and a lovely melody courtesy Ian Gillan, and it makes for a great opener. I don't know what lies ahead. It's all a mystery, man, I've heard it said. You do your thing, you do your best. I'll take a guess at what happens next. All I've got is what I need, and that's enough as far as I can see. Why should I walk into the great unknown when I can sit here and throw my bones? 1 minute 42 seconds, Steve Morse turns in a stinging, wildly inventive guitar solo, and I'm already loving this. When the band came to record this album, one of the things Bob Ezrin said that he wanted from the band on this album was he wanted them to play like they did live, play like they did in jams, you know, with that sense of freedom, that sense of rawness. And for me, especially on this first track, they've caught that, they've captured that for sure. Throw My Bones was actually born out of a long Don Airey-led jam on the last Deep Purple tour. Luckily, it had been recorded and saved by an engineer. The band then whittled it down to the song you hear here. On to track 2, Drop the Weapon. This is a tight, medium-paced rocker, and it's a song about the senseless violence that occurs daily on our streets. Whether it's guns or knives, young men losing their lives daily over what? Absolutely nothing. In the wrong hands it could have come over as corny and crass and banal, but somehow the band pull it off. Little brother, I'm telling you now, your pride can take a hit. Little brother, take a deep breath. Cool off, man, forget about it. Drop the weapon, kick it away. Drop your gun, look the other way. Drop the weapon, live another day. Drop your blade, listen to what I say. 2 minutes 11 seconds in, Steve Morse provides yet another great guitar solo. He's on fire on this album. But listen to just behind him, where Pace and Glover are providing that fantastic rhythmic backbone to the song which allows Steve Morse to take flight. 2 minutes 42 seconds, Morse drops back to aid Pace and Glover in laying down that fantastic rhythm and step forward Don Airey on Hammond organ. And it's great to see Don being given so much space to show what he can really do and what a great player he is. Track 3, We're All the Same in the Dark. I absolutely love this riff. It's colossal. It's one of the best riffs I've ever heard. Morse and Airey playing it in unison like they were joined at the hip. Pace and Glover just driving this rhythm forward. Baby, won't you be my friend and love me right till the end? I don't care what shape you're in, what you've done or where you've been. I've got nothing to hide from you. We can sit and talk about the past. We don't need to tell the truth. To tell the truth now, we're all the same in the dark. Ian Gillan may not have the range he had back in the day and can only summon that banshee wail on occasions, but personally I like the 75-year-old version. The voice has got a nod, a wink and a huge grin in it. At 1 minute 52 seconds, Ian informs us that he doesn't need to see a doctor. As the song changes tack completely and goes into, dare I say it and not be struck by lightning, Steely Dan territory, and some very Larry Carlton-esque guitar from Steve Morse. But don't worry, at 2 minutes 41 seconds the song returns to the main riff and continues in that vein right to the finish. One thing I'd like to add here is that the melodies on this album are absolutely top notch, and we have a lot of Ian Gillan multi-tracking his voice to provide some great harmonies. Track number 4, the irresistibly catchy and rollicking Nothing at All. Now, just take a listen to the opening 10 seconds. You've got Ian Pace and Roger Glover laying down the groove with Don Airey's organ fills. These are elite players, and I am so glad that they're still out there making music today. In comes Steve Morse with a lovely lead guitar motive which Don Airey immediately plays straight back to him. When I hear about the doom and gloom that's around the corner and coming soon, I take a sip of Mother's Ruin and sit with my back to the wall. It's nothing at all, nothing at all. And the old lady smiled, it's nothing at all. Then she blew all the leaves off my tree. 2 minutes 45 seconds, Don Airey provides a very Bach-like organ solo. Now, I can't remember if this is lifted from Johann Sebastian or not, but who cares, it fits perfectly. As the song comes to its conclusion, Morse and Airey playfully swap guitar and organ licks. It's another excellent song on an excellent album. Track number 5, No Need to Shout. And straight away I'm taken back to early 70s Blue Oyster Cult. And I could easily imagine Eric Bloom taking the place of Ian Gillan. It's a guess, not too much of a guess, that this song is all about our wonderful politicians. Steve Morse says that producer Bob Ezrin is always forcing him to play out of his comfort zone. Yeah, that's great, Steve, but, well, whatever Bob is doing, Steve Morse, like I said before, is on fire on this album, as he shows at 1 minute 51 seconds. Now, especially over the last 20 years or so, you've got some amazing guitarists coming through, and you can't fault their technical ability. They're amazing players, but one thing a lot of them lack is feel. Now, Steve Morse, you can't fault his technique, you can't fault his ability, but he has feel, and for me that's a massive, massive plus. Anyway, back to the track. At 2 minutes 13 seconds, Don Airey chimes in with some great rock and roll piano, which I'm sure if John Lord is looking down, he'd give a massive thumbs up to. Track number 6, Step by Step. The track opens with some doomy sounding organ, counterpointed by single piano chords. At 13 seconds, in come the rest of the band, and the mood stays very atmospheric, very gothic, very spooky, as Ian sings over a staccato riff about graveyard shifts, bags of bones, and soul stealing, and taking it all step by step. The song features some great effects on Ian's multi-track vocals and another superb melody. Track number 7, What the What. This was a little rock and roll idea brought in by Steve Morse, and the band kicked it around and came up with this. It's one hell of a fun song, which I just love to see the band perform live. The band are really smoking here and having what sounds like a great time in the studio. Rocking along in fine fashion. Don Airey providing some of the best rock and roll piano you will ever hear, and Stevie Morse's guitar could peel the paint off your walls. Even a nod to Little Richard with its Long Tall Sally reference. We're going out tomorrow night, we're going to do it right. Celebrate the fact that we're still alive. I'm going to do what I do best, spend all my money till there's nothing left. Track number 7, The Long Way Round. Set to a galloping guitar riff, Ian Gillan sings, You can't get me down, I got the things are looking up blues. I know it happens, but it never sticks to my shoes. It's been a long time coming, I never thought it would last. I think about the future, who knows what might have happened in the past. It's a song about the inevitable regrets you have about life as you grow older, and how hindsight is a wonderful thing. I was facing the wrong way, always taking the long way. 2 minutes in, we get a very proggy synth solo from Don, followed by, yep, you guessed it, another great Steve Morse guitar solo. 3 minutes 33 seconds, after a lovely fast descending organ and guitar run, we are left with just Ian Pace, Roger Glover and Don Airey laying down some lovely electric piano chords, and Ian promising that he won't get trashed again. As the song nears its end, we revisit the descending organ and guitar run, but this time it takes us into distinctly yes territory, with gentle mellotron, percussion and echoed guitars. Close to the purple? Maybe it's a little hint of what's to come, as next up is the very proggy Power of the Moon. The track allows Don Airey to use his full range of keyboard colours. The track starts off with an electric piano riff and Morse's muted chords. The vocals enter with Pace and Glover right behind, but notice Roger Glover's superb bass line. Who am I to say things may not be what they seem? And how can I disturb the facts of life? And who am I to speak about the fabric of a dream? And who's to say that dreams cannot be right? It's the power of the moon, the power. Who am I to talk about the lunacy at hand, burnishing the madness in my head? And who am I to mention that before it all began, everything I heard was never said at all? The Power of the Moon is a dark, brooding, atmospheric, classic rock song. And how they still come up with great songs like this after all these years is beyond me. It's a beauty. 2 minutes 04, Morse takes his solo, but listen to the rest of the band cooking along behind him. 2 minutes 38, Don Airey just lets loose on the Hammond organ. And this song has great vocals, fantastic melody, and great playing by all of the band, and I would love to see this live. I'd travel a long way to see this live, if that at all is possible in the future. Next up is Remission Possible, and it's just 1 minute 37 seconds of the band jamming. It's okay, but what it does do, it leads us into the next track, the epic Man Alive. Now when I first heard this track, Man Alive, I thought the strings at the beginning were real, but no, it's not. It is Don Airey, and that's unreal because it shows how far keyboards have come in the last 20-30 years, because it sounds so authentic. Add to that Steve Morse's lovely guitar chords, then another layer of guitar as Morse uses the volume control, Pace providing a ticking rhythm on the drums. It's all very atmospheric. Then on top of all that, you've got Ian Gillan's eerie, almost chanted vocals. What a brilliant opening. And then at 1:05, here come the power chords, Airy adding layers of synth and organ. The track is about how mankind has become extinct. We've taken the mickey out of Mother Nature too many times and it's rebelled on us, and we become extinct like the dinosaurs. But somewhere way in the future, a man's washed up on the beach, so there might still be hope. Now, I love this track. I love the way it changes direction. I love the atmosphere. I even love the spoken word centerpiece. And every man in the band plays their socks off. Now, this was the first track I heard from Whoosh, and I was hoping that the band had done a concept album. It looked that way with it, the constant references to the spaceman. Not quite, but you never know in the future, eh? Track 12, And the Address. This was, for those who don't know, the first track on the very first Deep Purple album, Shades of Deep Purple. I think that was around 1968. And when I saw it on the track listing, I must admit, my heart sank. Was this Deep Purple's way of saying we're coming full circle and bringing things to a close? I hope not. The Deep Purple of 2020 do a spirited rendition of a great instrumental, and one has to remember that Ian Paice is the only member of the band who played on the original track. Airy and Steve Morse don't try and ape Lord and Blackmore, they just do their own thing, but this is another track that I would love to see played live. And so to the final track, Dancing in My Sleep. The track starts off with a very Eastern Arabic flavour, and you wonder where the track is going to go. But it's only a red herring. After 18 seconds, the song starts to rock out and we are treated to an irresistibly funky Roger Glover bass line. At 41 seconds, the band come to a grinding halt and Steve Morse makes his arrival with a really fast guitar lick. As the band starts up again, he joins Glover and adds some heaviness to the bass line. Heavy metal funk, anyone? And anchoring it all is the great Ian Paice. As the band get into the groove and they do all these wonderful rhythmic twists and turns, it's Ian Paice, aka the Chief, holding it all down as he's done for many, many years. And at 72, his playing is still absolutely sublime. Don't you love my fancy footwork? I ain't no Fred Astaire. I can tap into your life, babe, and I can take you anywhere. Now, I've gone on and on about Steve Morse's great guitar solos that litter this album. They're all over this album. But listen to his rhythm guitar playing on this track. It is just off the scale. And then when he takes his solo, he takes some of that rhythm playing into the solo, and it is just absolutely awesome. And this album, more than anything else, I've really got to love Steve Morse because he is absolutely brilliant on this album. And we're also treated to another great Hammond organ solo by Don Airy. And like I said, all the players on this album, they've just played out of their skins, and it is a wonderful achievement. When this album was first announced, I didn't think I was going to pay it that much attention. I thought it was just another Deep Purple album, but it is a great record. And if you haven't heard it, I urge you to have a listen to it and give it some time. Give it some plays, give it some playing time. Don't just play it once and let it go, because it's a record that gives up its gifts over a period of time. And just give it a chance, because I think it's great to have Purple around these days, and hopefully, when all this virus stuff eases down, they can get back to playing their live shows, because I think these songs and the way the band are right now, I think it's going to be fantastic. So hopefully they will get back to doing some live shows, and I will definitely be there and support them. Thank you for listening, and I hope you like this review. Stay safe, stay well, be happy, and I'll see you in the next video.